The movie opens with a young guy named Ricky Ho getting arrested for murder and sentenced to 10 years in prison. With fair treatment, a sentence like that might be tolerable, but in the future, all prisons have become privately owned. That means inside their dark walls, the wardens set their own crazy rules. These crooked guys use prisoners as their personal slaves, but they have no clue who just walked through their door. A bus filled with prisoners passes through heavily guarded gates, heading to a maximum security facility. Like all other prisons in this futuristic world, it's owned by a private company. Among the new arrivals is Ricky Ho, sentenced to 10 years for assault and murder. Ricky immediately shows he won't be pushed around, ignoring orders and stepping straight through the metal detector. Alarms scream, and guards rush him, thinking he's armed, but the X-ray shows 5 bullets stuck inside his body. A guard offers to help remove them, but Ricky casually tells him he'll keep them as souvenirs for a couple more years. The prison is divided into 4 sections: north, south, east, and west. Each block has a captain among the inmates who rules his area with permission from the bosses. Together, they proudly call themselves the Gang of Four. One morning, Samuel, the right-hand man to the north block's captain, is busy bullying and beating an elderly prisoner in the bathroom. The old man is nearly done serving his sentence, but Samuel warns he'll never get out early unless Samuel himself allows it. To make his point clear, Samuel smashes a small toy train that the old man has built lovingly as a gift for his son. Furious and having nothing to lose, the old guy loses his cool and charges at Samuel, holding a woodworking tool. Samuel quickly grabs the weapon and brutally strikes him across the face. Hearing the noise, a guard runs in, immediately siding with Samuel and his crew. Suddenly, Ricky steps in, tripping Samuel so perfectly that the bully lands face first onto a plank filled with nails. Samuel's friends nervously drag their injured boss away, too scared to fight this tough new inmate. Later, nursing his bandaged face, Samuel plans revenge. His buddies suggest hiring a muscle-headed thug named Zorro, who's been locked away in a special cell yet again for breaking rules. Samuel meets secretly with a bad guard, paying him off to speed up Zorro's release. The next day, guards corner the elderly prisoner again, coldly informing him his early release is denied. They lie, accusing him of secretly writing letters to his wife and kid without permission. He argues, calling them liars, but gets nothing except punches in return. Heartbroken, he realizes he has nothing left to live for if he'll never see his family again. By nightfall, inmates find the old man hanging lifeless from a rope. Everyone whispers sadly about how unfair his imprisonment was. He'd only run someone over by accident while rushing his pregnant wife to the hospital. Ricky overhears the prisoners talk and heads out into the prison yard to pay his final respects. He breaks the chains holding the old man's body and carefully places the toy train, now perfectly fixed by his own hands, gently into the dead man's grasp. The next morning, Ricky and Samuel are showering when Zorro suddenly appears. Without a word, the huge thug attacks Ricky, delivering a bone-crushing punch that sends him flying across the room and slamming into the opposite wall. Ricky stands up and faces the giant. His next attack, with amazing force, sends his punch straight through Zorro's belly, making the big guy drop to the floor in pain. Samuel rushes in with a sharp spike, stabbing through Ricky's hand, but Ricky doesn't even flinch. Instead, he calmly breaks Samuel's fingers and takes him out with a punch strong enough to make a shotgun jealous. Guards yell for Ricky to give up, but they're interrupted by Captain Hai of the North Block. Hai wants Ricky to join his crew, but Ricky clearly isn't interested. They take Ricky back to his cell, where he suddenly feels a sharp pain in his chest. Ricky breathes heavily and remembers a moment from his past, back when he was still a high school kid walking to visit his parents' grave. There, he met a mysterious stranger who turned out to be his uncle, Shang Quan, a kung fu master. Shang Quan challenged Ricky to show his fighting skills, easily blocked the young man's angry attack, and decided to take him as a student. Ever since, Ricky trained every day at the cemetery, learning to use his inner energy to smash huge rocks and take powerful blows to his chest. Back in the present, Ricky is led to the deputy warden, a nasty fella known as Cyclops. This charming guy is busy eating a huge steak, using an iron hook where his left hand should be, and proudly wearing a fake eye. Cyclops starts questioning Ricky, asking why he killed a powerful gangster and what he'd been doing during the 2 years since leaving the orphanage. When Ricky refuses to talk, Cyclops calls him over and shows him a letter from the outside. He cruelly hooks Ricky's hand and punches him in the face, threatening Ricky's girlfriend, whose picture was inside. This makes Ricky lose his temper completely. He breaks the desk in half, throws a guard across the room, and leaps into action, blocking a bullet midair with a metal tray. Ricky pins Cyclops to a corner and almost kills him, stopping at the very last moment. Instead, he takes the photo back and leaves. In his cell, Ricky takes out a flute and plays a song, remembering happier times. A year earlier, he spent easy days outdoors with his girlfriend, Yen. The next morning, Samuel's helper, now left without his boss's protection, faces payback from prisoners he'd bullied. Captain Hai steps in, stopping them, but one man, Quan, angrily speaks out and openly challenges Hai's power. For this, Hai quickly cuts his face with a blade. Before things get worse, Cyclops grabs Quan with his hook. The deputy warden wants to teach Ricky a lesson and hands Hai a knife, ordering him to deal with it. Ricky and Hai meet in the prison yard, where Hai has tied the hurt Quan to a giant wooden cross. Hai sees himself in Ricky, feeling sorry that he must fight him. Ricky demands Quan's release before the fight, but the inmates warn Ricky it's pointless. Once Hai shows off his tattoos, there's no stopping him. Sure enough, Hai throws glass pieces at Ricky's eyes, blinding him for a moment. Ricky, badly hurt in the arm, falls to the ground. Ricky manages to wash his eyes and see again just as the other inmates cheer for him. In one fast move, he dodges Hai's knife attack and strikes, knocking out Hai's eye. Then, shocking everyone, Ricky tightly wraps his hurt arm to stop the bleeding. Hai, beaten, makes one last try to fight back but is stopped by Ricky, who delivers one final powerful punch. Hai falls, defeated. After the fight, Ricky pulls the massive wooden cross from the ground, but it's too late to save Quan. Angry inmates rise up in protest, charging at Cyclops, but the remaining 3 captains protect him. Everyone urges Ricky to take revenge and finish off the gang of 4, but Ricky doesn't want more killing. Instead, he carries Quan's body away, refusing the path of revenge. Cyclops, seeing a chance, offers Ricky the position of North Block captain, but Ricky's attention is drawn to Alan, Hai's godson, crying over his fallen father. Ricky teaches him how to play music with a simple green leaf, but when Alan tries, he can't make a sound because the captains had cut out his tongue to keep him quiet. Moved by the boy's pain, Ricky gives him his own flute as a gift. In return, Alan offers him some special leaves, a gift from the South Block captain. Ricky is horrified. The captains are running a secret drug farm inside the prison. Meanwhile, the captains gather to discuss what to do about Alan, who is sided with Ricky. In a cruel move, they show off Hai's body, saying Ricky had disrespected it. Then they kill Alan and leave his body in the yard as a warning to anyone else. Destroyed by Alan's death, Ricky smashes the flute in anger. Cyclops is furious that the secret of the drug farm is out, but by then, Ricky is already burning the fields, destroying their illegal business. The South Block captain, Hang Chun, confronts Ricky and attacks with deadly kung fu, landing a brutal blow straight to Ricky's heart. At the same time, chaos erupts as inmates try to use the confusion to escape. Cyclops, panicking, hears that the prison director will be back soon from a vacation. He orders the start of Plan Zero. Ricky, lying on the ground and holding his wound, remembers his master's teachings and finds the strength to fight back. He gets up and faces all 3 captains. One of them tangles Ricky with knives on ropes, getting ready to finish him, but Tarzan, the brute of the group, steps in, saying he wants the kill. Just as they argue over who gets to kill Ricky, the prison's automatic gun system, part of Plan Zero, turns on, and bullets shoot from the walls. Everyone runs for cover. Tarzan grabs Ricky and pulls him into a nearby room, but to their horror, the room starts filling with wet cement. Ricky manages to punch through the iron door, pulling the stunned captain to safety. Cyclops had planned to let Tarzan die, but now that the plan failed, he confronts Ricky on the stairs. Ricky is ready to tell everyone about Cyclops' illegal drug farm, but just as he moves to strike, the cement hardens, locking Ricky in place. Cyclops captures him. The next day, the prison director arrives, getting out of his car with his spoiled son, Wang, following him. Wang, the kind of brat who thinks he's better than everyone, looks down on Cyclops like he's dirt under his feet, but karma doesn't waste time. Wang trips on the red carpet, and just like that, the director orders a prisoner to lose an eye for laying it badly. Harsh, but that's how things work here. The director then yells at Cyclops, angry about the chaos that happened while he was gone, especially after learning that the drug farm burned down. Cyclops tries to look good, saying Ricky was the one to blame. Ricky stands chained and covered in cement from head to toe. But when Ricky sees the director, he suddenly breaks free in a flash. He grabs the director through the cell bars, promising to make him pay for his drug business. Wang, of course, panics and yells that Cyclops saved his father. Just then, Tarzan smashes through the wall like a human wrecking ball, slamming Ricky back and trapping him with bent iron bars. The beating starts, a show for the director and his son. But Ricky doesn't stay down. Breaking free again, he lands an uppercut that dislocates Tarzan's jaw, then follows with a punch that crushes his enemy's fist. Tarzan falls down, knocked out. Ricky stands strong, shouting that prisoners are not bugs, they're people. But the director has other plans. The cell ceiling starts to come down, a slow, crushing death coming closer. Ricky pushes back with all his strength, holding up the heavy slab, but Cyclops has another trick. He hits Ricky with an electric shock that knocks him to the floor. It seems like the end until Tarzan, barely alive, sacrifices himself to save Ricky. Ricky breaks free, crashing through the iron bars, but when he tries to save Tarzan, it's too late. The ceiling crushes the giant man. Full of rage and sadness, Ricky reminds everyone that even Tarzan had people waiting for him outside, family hoping for his freedom. But his speech is cut off when a trap door opens under his feet. Ricky falls down, chained up, landing in a hole in the middle of the prison yard. The director says that for his rebellion, Ricky will be buried alive as a warning to the rest. 2 prisoners try to speak up, but they're shot on the spot. Guards order the other inmates to cover Ricky with dirt. He doesn't fight it and even tells them not to risk their lives for him. The director makes it clear, if Ricky survives 7 days underground, he'll be set free. Cyclops thoughtfully sticks a hollow bamboo tube into the ground, giving Ricky just enough air to suffer longer. As night falls, worry spreads among the inmates, but then, through the darkness, a faint whistling tune comes from the ground. Ricky is still alive. The 2 surviving captains try to silence Ricky by blocking the bamboo tube with a piece of meat, but Ricky, because he's a tough survivor, breaks the bamboo and eats the falling meat. Starving and buried, Ricky holds on to memories of his lost love, Yen. In a painful flashback, Yen is seen walking home late one night. She sees men selling and using drugs. One of the gangsters sees her and takes her. She gets away, but in her panic, slips from a rooftop and falls to her death. That tragedy fuels Ricky's burning hate for the drug trade. Wanting revenge, Ricky found the man responsible. The gangster shot him 5 times in the chest, but Ricky didn't even slow down. He took down the man with one final hit, sealing his own fate as both a hero and a prisoner. That's why Ricky is in prison. He chose revenge over the law. After 7 awful days, despite storms and unbelievable pain, Ricky is pulled from the grave alive. He jumps down from the digging machine, but there's no time to rest. The captains attack right away, eager to finish what the grave couldn't. The prisoners are done with the endless unfairness and broken promises. They rise up in rebellion. But Ricky ends up thrown back into a dark cell. Yet even in chains, Ricky won't break, saying that a pig and a wolf can never be friends. For his defiance, he gets hit hard in the face with a tool. The captains play with him, demanding to know where he was for 2 years. They put razor blades in his mouth and beat him until he bleeds. But when the director comes, hoping for answers, Ricky spits those same blades right into his face. Calm but serious, Ricky says his secret will be the last thing these bullies ever hear. That night, one of Ricky's friends risks everything to bring him food and kind words, but nothing gets past the watchful guard. By morning, Cyclops finds the helper and kills him, wanting to show the body as a warning. But when he comes to laugh at Ricky, Ricky isn't there. Ricky is hiding near the ceiling, waiting like a trap. He attacks the guards, killing the assistant and hurting Cyclops. More guards come, but not in time to save his dying friend, whom Ricky thanks quietly. Full of rage, the prisoners attack Cyclops, cutting off his other hand. The rebellion explodes, inmates fight guards, trying with everything to break free. Ricky joins the fight, leading the charge that pushes the guards back. He grabs Cyclops, demanding to be taken to the director. Meanwhile, the director and his spoiled son are in the kitchen, tasting food and punishing cooks for meals they don't like. But their fun is interrupted when Ricky storms in. Cyclops uses his body to shield Ricky, taking bullets meant for the fighter. The director doesn't care. He shoots Cyclops anyway, showing that loyalty means nothing here. The final fight begins. The remaining block captains attack Ricky's friends, while Ricky himself fights 2 martial arts masters. One of them, Quan, burns Ricky with boiling water, but luck turns fast. His leg gets stuck in a barrel, and Ricky finishes it, cutting off the leg. The last surviving captain tries to run, but the director has no use for cowards. He kills him with a special bullet. But the director is no ordinary man. It turns out, he's a martial arts master with a strange power. He changes into a huge, ugly giant and challenges Ricky to a final fight. The monster smashes Ricky through a stone pillar, but Ricky hits back, punching straight through the beast's body. Still, the director doesn't fall. His strength grows with every hit, feeding off Ricky's energy. But Ricky's done. Gathering all his strength, he throws the director into a giant meat grinder. The machine roars, and just like that, the tyrant is gone. Having won, Ricky walks out holding the severed head of his enemy. He stops the fighting, telling the inmates and guards to stand down. Then, with one last act, he tears down the prison wall, leading his fellow prisoners to freedom.